think the biggest difference is to the program now? Obviously the facilities too, but how much do you think the program's changed since the last time you were here?
Well, the difference from when I arrived in 1985 and until now, there's about 9 more NCAA tournament banners hanging from the rafters. You know, there's just so much richer history. I remember growing up in Southern Illinois with rich history in the 60s, Walt Frazier and Dick Garrett and those great teams, and then got to see Mike Glenn in '77. And then there was a drought, you know, in the 80s. There wasn't much happening in basketball, and that's why, you know, why we came in and got the opportunity. And then from, you know, about '89 on, there's been pretty consistently a good run. So there's been a lot of history made in the last 20 plus years. So that's probably the biggest change.
What are your thoughts on the new renovations of the arena?
Oh, this is the first time I came in Sunday, and I looked at it for the first time, and just kind of amazing what was there and what it is today. And not just inside the arena, but also you know, the outside support area here for the fans, the office complex, the locker rooms speak for themselves, but this is a special place. I've toured a lot of big-time programs over the years, and the locker room and the team setting, the arena, it has just a great collegiate atmosphere.
How much easier is that to make it to recruit this time around?
It's important. I think, you know, there's a lot of things that go into recruiting. There's certain things that are going to make a difference in the decision-making process with every student athlete. Some, you know, the facilities are definitely going to be something very important to them, but they're looking at academics. They're looking at the community. They're looking at the fan base and support. They look at the coaching staff. They look at the fellow players. We didn't really start getting good until we got some good players on campus in the late '80s, and good players attract good players.
Ron, don't take this the wrong way, but the state of the program the way it is, why come back now?
Well, you know, probably the simplest answer is that one of my guys, you know, I was here and recruited Chris. He played for our staff for 4 years. He's one of my guys, and I'm happy when my guys are successful, and I'm sad when they're not being successful. And here's a guy that, you know, I was convinced over the course of a couple of days of conversation with him and other people that, you know, there was a need here. And the older we get, you guys are all too young to know this, but the older you get, it is true. It's if you want to feel good about yourself, you do something for somebody else. You give some of your time and give some of your effort and whatever you have to bring to the program, and the opportunity to help a guy in that, you know, that said he needed me, and you know, I said this is something that I would take on. Challenges and taking over programs that haven't been real good is nothing new to me. So I know that there are certain hills you have to climb in this process. The hill to climb here is not as great in my eyes as it is probably in a lot of maybe the fan base and some of the people that are here. There's going to be a hill to climb, and there's some redirection to go, but it's definitely not a all is lost and unfixable situation.
What is your relationship with Chris Lowry like right now, maybe from the coach, student athlete role from the 90s to now?
Well, you know, it's been pretty constant from the time he arrived on campus as a senior at Harrison High School in Evansville, and you know, we've stayed in touch because he's stayed in the profession. I have contact with you know, a lot of players all the time throughout different times of the years, but because, you know, I coached him for 4 years, and then he got into coaching as a young coach, and he recruited one of my players, and I sent one of my players to him at Missouri Southern. So we'd been in contact there, and he was a big part of the reasons I sent my player to Missouri Southern. They went to the Final Four in Division II with that team, and then he's in the coaching fraternity, so you'd see him every now and then on recruiting trail. And then I was at Northern Iowa for 8 years, and I had all the scouts on SIU for 8 years in a row. So I was really in tune to what you know, they were doing as a staff. I was in tune to their personnel. So we've just, you know, he's not unlike a lot of my other players. So I was telling Tom earlier today, I've had a lot of contact with a lot of former players. They have contacted me through phone or text or email, and I've heard from players from 4 different continents this week. I mean, it's just kind of amazing that the internet and how everything makes the world a little bit smaller. But our relationship is very similar to the relationship that I hope I have with a lot of former players.